I traveled to Iceland for this. First vertical waterfall, multiple dives in. I bumped a button, one wrong input. The drone was the first thing Iceland took from me. It wouldn't be the last. But I kept going, and what I got back was better than what I lost.
I'm Wyatt Bang with Bang Up Media.
For 2 years I explored Ireland. Sea cliffs, mountain ridges. But Iceland, it was my explorer's paradise. And almost nothing went the way I expected. In this video, 5 things I got wrong and what I wish I knew instead. Research helps, but you can't avoid some decisions that have to be made in the moment, and it certainly can't prepare you for the feeling of standing in an otherworldly landscape. This is Iceland. Iceland is magical in the sun, when it's out. I'd worked in the rain before while teaching at a wilderness boys camp in Ireland the past 2 years. When rain set in while hiking a soggy ridgetop, sometimes the only good option was to keep moving. I had the gear and I knew how to tough it out. I knew from research that the climate in Iceland can be volatile, but hoped that the pristine scenes on social media would be my experience as well. But here's the thing, no matter how much experience or gear I brought, the elements would test my mentality and decision making. When you only have 7 days to explore this island, you don't wait for a break in the weather that might not come. In Iceland, I felt a sense of urgency. I had to learn when to push through and when to walk away from the shot I came for.
Unfortunately, the visibility is so bad that I'm not gonna go the whole way back because it's just hardly worth it.
It's not just a matter of, can I survive this? You also have to remember that there may be another opportunity later that day. The weather fluctuates frequently, particularly during the transition to fall in early September when I visited. I'd hoped to fly my drone at this beach, but violent gusts of wind were shaking my car as I got out to explore. Just before my arrival, this vibrant rainbow arced across the sky. While hiking in the highlands, intermittent showers popped up, but I couldn't complain after seeing this.
Gotta love it when there's a little extra color to an already colorful scene.
And remember that canyon I walked out of? It was a hard call that morning, but further west the sun came out at Vesterhorn. I was so grateful to be there to experience it. As an explorer and videographer, my job wasn't to execute the detailed plan I made at my desk a month before the trip. It was to find the opportunities that were there, to take it all in stride and embrace the moment. My truth for you, be prepared for inclement weather, but don't let it make or break your trip. After 2 years of voluntary service, I was on a tight budget. I figured my camping experience could save a lot of money, and it did. But I had this image. You just pull off the ring road, pitch wherever, wake up in the middle of nowhere, total freedom. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. Here's what I found. The ring road has no camping signs everywhere. Plenty of places that look empty on a map. Drive up and it's clearly not allowed. I camped off the road on pullouts twice in the highlands, but my research shows that this was probably not technically legal since I had a vehicle parked there. Wild camping can be confusing. However, it did allow me to enjoy the Valley of Tears alone for about 45 minutes before a tourist bus arrived.
It's almost like a dreamland. This is truly a magical spot.
But after my second night in the highlands, I decided to return to established campgrounds. There were enough options in Iceland for me to decide later in the day where I wanted to stop. They had common cooking areas, hot showers, and were still way cheaper than a hotel. And I still got the shot. One of those spots was near Skogafoss. The weather was rainy the day before, so I enjoyed a fair morning there before the crowds swarmed the place. You don't need to wild camp to beat the crowds. You just need to be close and get there early. Camping wasn't all great though. On night 1, my tent pole snapped, so I spent a wakeful night in the SUV's front seat. The next morning, I bought tape at a gas station and patched it together. That old tent held together for 6 more nights. Windy, wet, but it held. Don't come to Iceland expecting to pitch a tent anywhere. Consider booking the campgrounds in advance during peak summer tourism. Bring the right gear, except that you'll be damp. You'll still save money, and you'll be at the waterfall before everyone else. I rented a Dacia Duster because it offered 4-wheel drive at a more reasonable price of just over $900 for a week. It handled gravel F-roads fine, most of the time. River crossings are sketch. I made it through, but it was an uneasy feeling when the water hit my undercarriage during a last light crossing in the highlands. I wasn't sure when the next person would pass by if my engine got waterlogged. There are some places in the highlands you simply can't cross in a budget SUV. There just isn't enough clearance. Driving the ring road with this SUV was great, but if you're planning on exploring the highlands with others who can split the cost, I'd definitely consider renting a lifted 4x4 vehicle. I also purchased gravel insurance with the rental. Although I didn't have to use it, it's worthwhile if you're leaving the paved roads. Remember, to truly experience Iceland, you need more car than you think. My first meal in Iceland was, ironically, at KFC, but it wasn't American pricing. Preparing your own meals is the way to go if you're on a budget. Kronen and Bonus are the most affordable grocery stops. But here's what no one warns you about. I found shopping in a foreign language and currency to be confusing. I had the Google Translate camera open and a currency converter open in another tab. And then when I checked out, my credit card notification hit in USD. Ouch. But that's not the only charge sneaking up on you. With waterfalls, black sand beaches, and thermal vents along the route, I ended up paying for parking along the ring road several times a day. $9 or so at each spot starts to add up. By the way, you should also download the Parka app before you go. It'll save you headaches later when you need to park. But the thing that actually saved money, I prepared almost every meal myself. I used my JetBoil burner for basic hot foods such as oatmeal, noodles, and rice. A couple campgrounds had an indoor cooking area, which is really handy if it's raining. I also had plenty of food I could eat on the go, such as pancakes, pistachios, protein bars, and ingredients for wraps. I saved hundreds. The sticker shock at the register was still real, but it stings less when you're not doing it 3 times a day. By the way, I made an interactive map with my notes on every Icelandic location I visited. Get that map for free via the link in the description. If I went back, and I will, I'd do a few things differently. First, the season. I went in early September. It rained every single day. Next time, I'd try the summer, the full midnight sun, hopefully less rain. Or I'd try winter to hunt the auroras I never saw, but I wouldn't try to do both in 1 week. I wouldn't try to complete the entire ring road again either. That week-long sprint, it was amazing, but I left too many places unseen. I'd slow down, pick a region, let the highlands take the time they deserve, and I'd rent a vehicle that can actually handle F-roads. No more guessing whether my SUV survives the next river crossing. I'd go back to explore that canyon. You saw what happened earlier. Fog so thick I turned around halfway up the trail. That spot feels unfinished. With more time, I'd explore the West Fjords. Everyone skips them because they're out of the way. That's exactly why I'd go. I'd find one of those hot springs that isn't on any map. And I'd bring someone. Epic experiences are better shared. I'd definitely chase a live volcano. None were active when I was there. That's one dream that never got realized. But there are always going to be difficulties that make your adventure unique. The rain that blotted out the northern lights, the fog that hid the waterfall in that canyon, the highland river crossing I wasn't sure I'd make. None of that undermines what happens when you're standing in a surreal spot. Sometimes it hits deeper. when you're soaked by the mist of Hauifoss, or discover a crater lake at the crest of a hill. When the scale of it hits, not in a photograph of someone else's story, but as part of your own journey. You realize how small you are, and instead of shrinking you, it fills something inside. I think we all carry that desire, to be awed, to stand before something so vast it silences every other thought. That's a part of why I explore. And for me, it's deeper than the landscape. When I'm out there, standing in the middle of it, I see the majesty of something bigger than myself. I believe that's the hand of God. And there are few ways that remind me of His greatness like experiencing the raw power and beauty of nature. I've got memories from this trip I'll carry for the rest of my life. I've left footprints in a lot of incredible places, but none of them hit like Iceland did. Maybe Norway will. I'll let you know when I find out.